A bit.
And we had 2 topics kind of picked out. Mm-hmm. Which one did I mean?
Well,
we're not going to be able to get through both of them.
No, the one you brought up, I feel like, is more timely, right?
So we could save the other one for whenever we want.
We could.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. So, I feel like it's kind of been a recurring theme all throughout some of the rants that I've given today here on the show. So yeah, it feels a little bit more appropriate to slide it in here.
It's kind of important too.
Yeah, because YouTube as a platform is not doing well.
They haven't been for a while.
They really, really haven't been. And I'm not just talking about sentiment. I'm not just talking about hashtag YouTube party is over. I'm not just talking about, PewDiePie or any of these people who are just dissatisfied with the platform. But this past week, we saw a bunch, like over 100 different advertisers, big name advertisers, walk away from YouTube as a platform because they kept finding out that their ads were being placed alongside ISIS beheading videos and just like terrible content, right? Like just, or Nazi shit, like white supremacist bullshit. Like, and when you're Dell or when you're Volkswagen or, one of these large advertisers, you don't want that. And if YouTube as a platform can't guarantee that that won't happen, of course their major advertisers are going to walk away. Of course that they're going to end up wanting to find something that's a little bit more accurate to what represents the brand. That only makes sense. But it's having a very real impact on creative people and on YouTube creators. Now, we saw a couple of years ago with YouTube Red that YouTube had identified some key creators that they wanted to go out of their way to inject some funding into. And what we got, I think, was a whole bunch of creators that started to go to things, like conventions and start talking to each other and starting to, and if I'm going to be blunt, they started to just jack each other off all the time. And they started to tell themselves what we're building as a community, what we're building is important, and it's going to surpass regular media, and it's going to be this new paradigm shift when it comes to broadcasting. And what they did was they took in that money, but then they never their cameras got better, their ability to produce got better, but they didn't sit down and think about their core product. What is it that I'm fucking making? Just look at the difference in the content that a channel like, even PewDiePie's YouTube Red channel, his increased content channel, or premium content channel puts out versus something like MatPat. MatPat is someone who thinks about the things that he makes. He thinks about the product of game theory, and the way that he runs that product and that brand is fucking brilliant. It is unequivocally brilliant, and it keeps working.
It has a lifespan to it. You can go back into MatPat's archives, and a lot of that stuff, even if it's not necessarily relevant to now, it has information that you watch it and you're like, this is interesting. Holy crap.
You're 100% right. Yeah, there is a long-term viability for a lot of that content. And so, when people talk to us and ask us questions about Checkpoint, and they go, why is this a radio product? And before this, we've tried to explain some of the financial opportunities that exist, the fact that there's a vacuum with this kind of content that exists on the radio, and that platforms like YouTube or Twitch that have been very successful in output for other people are not as solid as those people seem to think. PewDiePie thinking that he can make that same amount of money year over year, really any YouTube creator thinking that they can make the same amount of money year over year, or that the platform's not going to change, the algorithm is not going to change. They're not paying attention to core things like Facebook, that is constantly changing up their algorithms, constantly changing up their platforms in an ability to try to compete with as many websites as possible. So they have a fundamental misunderstanding that the heat that they're getting, or the momentum that they're building as a personality and as a channel, that they need to go to the extra distance and start building a brand beyond themselves and build something more permanent beyond themselves than what they're currently putting up on YouTube or what's currently getting hot. And again, you see a lot of amateurs kind of stepping into this area too. And I think that a lot of amateurs are being exposed for not having the ability to produce long form, long-term content, because they have about an idea that lasts about 20 episodes and then they tap out.
You have to ask yourself, like, if YouTube wasn't here, if the platform that I'm using right now wasn't here, where would my stuff be? Because you consider yourself a YouTube personality. That means without YouTube, what
you're just a personality.
Yeah.
What are you?
Yeah.
If you can't find a way to exist outside of that and to sustain yourself.
Right. What is your product if you remove it from YouTube? How do you promote yourself if you remove yourself from YouTube? Because so many of these people are relying on YouTube algorithms, correct placement of tags, being able to jump on with other more popular creators and being able to ride that kind of momentum. There's all sorts of little tips and tricks that YouTubers have created for themselves that worked for about a span of 3 years, and then after it stopped working, they started complaining. And they started going, well, I'm not able to make the same amount of money that I used to, YouTube, because you're not allowing me to monetize, because people are reporting my videos because I'm using their copyrighted content, which, by the way, you are. And by the way, they have every right to do. Fair use is not a fucking law, okay? Fair use is a defense in court. That's all it is. It's a legal defense. It's not a steadfast law. Nobody has to adhere to it. In fact, YouTube violating it over and over and over again, violating fair use, it's insane to me that no one who has the financial ability or has profited in any way from these gigantic channels hasn't turned around and sued YouTube for infringing or impairing its users' right to be able to use fair use as a legal defense, because these are not even legal arguments. They are internal disputes being resolved by YouTube. So they get to violate fair use all the fuck they want. But guess what? As a podcast at finalencountercast.com, you actually have to get a lawyer involved if you want to take a piece of content down from our website. If you think that we don't have a lawyer in our back pocket that's ready to counter argue fair use, you're absolutely wrong. Because
we have tons in the chat right now.
We have tons. Not only do we have tons in the chat, but we do have someone on retainer that represents us, because we have had all kinds of spurious lawsuits and threats being leveled against us because people don't like what we say. That's fine. That's a cost of doing business. Fortunately, the guy doesn't charge us very much, and he's
good thing he's a fan of the show.
He's really, really good at what the fuck he does.
He loves dick jokes.
But the fact of the matter is that that's why, when we say things like YouTube is an afterthought for us, that's what we mean. We don't monetize on YouTube, not because we don't like money, but because it's not a stable source of income. And if it ever became something that we saw as something of potentially a stable source of income, that would be bad for us internally. I mean,
we refuse to ever depend on it.
That's the thing. That's why we went to Patreon and went a much more sustainable route, because we want to build fans. We want to build a fan base. We want to build an audience. We want to build a community that can have a conversation with us, that can interact with everything that we make. And the thing is that when you get hot, when you suddenly overnight go from like 10,000 hits to 200,000 hits, it's not always clear what gave you that momentum, what you built underneath you, or even what your fucking brand is. And I think that there's not enough people who are making this stuff and seeing success with it that are thinking about that, that are thinking about their long term, which is why we said, okay, Patreon is an option. We'll see what that allows us to do. It allowed us to do this show. Then, with the limitations that we're up against, because none of us got to quit our job. Spoiler alert, none of us got to quit our job because of the patron support. We appreciate it, but it's not enough to pay 5 people's salaries and allow them all to eat and live and pay rent. That we decided, hey, we've got to look at other sources of income. We've got to look at other ways to grow our content and to grow our brand to be able to survive. and then you come to Checkpoint. And Checkpoint was really just an extension of everything that we were doing with Final Encountercast. And in fact, our first demo was built on material that we did on Final Encountercast first, and then brushed up to show to some consultants who helped us then craft it into a radio project. And even in the business of radio, Checkpoint is pretty unique because we're not trying to sell it based on, hey, this is a ratings maker. We're trying to sell it on, hey, you want to talk to this audience, and that's exactly who we want to talk to as well.
This is an audience you can't tap because you don't know how to tap
Well,
them.
not necessarily, but this is an audience that we're talking to organically anyway, that we're engaged with because it's the content that we make and that we've been living and talking about for 10 plus years. And so, therein lies an opportunity. There are companies who want to talk to the same people that we want to talk to, but for entirely different reasons. And so if that can help us at the same time that it helps them, then everyone is winning. The listeners don't feel like they're responsible for propping all five of us and our careers and our lives up, which is a monumental task that none of us would even really feel that comfortable asking of you. We appreciate so much how far the Patreon has gotten us and how many opportunities it's provided us, but the financial idea around Checkpoint deviates from anything that any digital creator seems to be doing. They just go to YouTube or they go to Twitch and they just try to get they do all of the normal kinds of routines that anyone who wants to try to make money off that platform does. And I think that we've proved time and again, like, look, our presence on Twitch is not financial. There's a genuine reason to be on Twitch for us, because if we want to take calls and we want to be a live show, we need that live component. Yep. It just so happens that Twitch likes what we did and was able to, gave us more opportunities to allow our audience to go, hey, we like what you do. Here's a couple of bucks. And we appreciate that. We so appreciate that. But it can't be built on your backs alone. Like, it can't be built on our audience backs alone.
And we don't want it to be.
And we're not smart enough to sell this shit either. Like, none of us are salespeople. All of us are creative types. Like, all of us, we have thoughts about humor and thoughts about video game development. Like, none of us are game creators. None of us are game journalists.
Our thought is always, how can I get a 12-minute discussion out of this? Not how can I sell this?
Or how can I work a penis in there?
Exactly. Or how can I not replace penis with
you
sponsorship?
did it again. You agreed with him too quickly.
Nutter's gonna nut.
Replace penis with sponsorship and you got it. But honestly, none of us are really that good at selling. And so we've had to take what we do, the content that we make, and put it into a much more traditional structure to be able to find the economic opportunities that surround it. Not enough brands do this. Not enough brands think about the opportunities somewhere else, and instead of what's just laid out in front of them that they think is going to be easy pickings. Like, if you think starting a YouTube channel or starting a show is a fucking easy undertaking or a simple thing to do, that you're just gonna make fucking money off of it, I'm gonna just...
Why aren't more people doing it then? Because it's not that easy. And with this huge exodus of all of these advertisers, right? I mean, for a long time now, it's always felt like YouTube has kind of been bubbling towards this boiling point, right? Like it's finally gonna balloon out and just poof. And if YouTube goes and all of these content creators that you love and enjoy don't know how to pivot and make themselves into something else,
right? When
YouTube goes, they're all gone too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are channels that are shutting down as a result of YouTube Red stopping the fund. It was that one content injection, and then they never came back for a second hit. Yeah. Mostly because I think the content that got produced was pretty middle of the road. It was not that great.
It's not sustainable.
It's not. Because I don't think people were thinking in terms of the long term. And again, there was this whole sentiment like, we're creating something outside of television. We're creating the next big thing. We're creating the next big movement in media. Yeah, that's nice. Kumbaya, have your sandals and candles, but and at the same time go fuck yourself. Because guess what? This shit does get competitive. And when the money starts to dry up, whether it be from YouTube, whether it be from advertisers, shit gets tough. And for these bloated fucking projects, these bloated production projects that rely on, $50,000, $100,000 a year to be able to produce their product, they don't know what we know, and that is how to work lean. We've been working lean for 10 fucking years.
Well, not bad.
4 out of 5 of us.
Yeah, I beat you to the punch, you idiot.
As a production house, we've been working lean.
We have him insulting himself now? He does the work for us.
As a production house, we've been working lean. Like the thing that you forget a lot of times is that, there are people who decided to make themselves full-time YouTube personalities that quit their job. None of us quit our fucking jobs. Like, all of us on Monday morning still have a job to go to.
Don't remind me.
You know what I mean? Like,
Tomorrow's gonna suck.
we're building something fucking sustainable. Something sustainable, something for the long term. And it's something, again, like you guys know, all of the listeners know, all of the people who are Final Encounter Cast fans know that we've been slugging it out in the trenches for 10 years. Again, we don't have the benefit of an IGN or a GameSpot behind us, mostly because we refused to ever ask those people for access to their audience. We said, fuck it, we can do it better. The shit that they're doing sucks.
Be better if they came to us and they were like, hey, we want to give you money.
But again, the power in that relationship is dictated by who approaches who.
Yes.
Like if we had approached IGN, they would have been like, yeah, okay, you guys sound all right.
Sign this, 100-page contract that gives us everything.
But you can't do this, this, and this. With people coming to us and going, hey, we like the shit that you're making. We would like to put it on our network or whatever, then you dictate those terms a lot differently. And again, it's taken us a long time to get here. And real quick, I just want to thank I just want to thank everyone in the room, like all of the hosts.
Not Nika, she's not here.
All of the hosts who have been doing this with me for 10 fucking years. I mean, this has been a long project, and it's like finally we're right on the edge.
There. Oh my God.
Right on the edge of making this something that is sustainable, not just for one person but for all 5 of us. That's something that's been really important to me, because I don't want to be the one who makes a ton of money and then skips out on you guys and back to fucking delivering pizzas. Who gives a shit? Like, I want to be able to build something that gives you guys career, because the 4 of you, 5, I'll go 5, I'll include Kooky as well. The 5 of you are some of the most talented people that I've ever met, and it's criminal to me that any of you spend any time selling jeans or delivering pizzas or talking to dumb kids, because you guys should be.
What was that? That was Nika.
That was Nika. Nika, hang on.
My job, sir.
Nika, I know. Mount a defense in a minute, but I'm building to a point. Okay. All right. Because all of these people who do this show with me, I think deserve to devote 100% of their time and creativity and energy to this product. That's how much I believe in what we make, and that's how much I believe in the people that I've asked to do it with me. And what you guys did was you guys provided a way for me to pay them and for them and to say, look, this is what we can do now, but just hang with me and we're going to do better. We're going to do more. And you know what it took? It took the 11 version of Limit Break Radio failing, and the chaos that came out of all of that, and how broken the whole crew felt for a while. Like, it took that for me to really realize, like, if we do this, we've got to do it right, and we've got to build sustainability into our model, long-term sustainability, so that it's not just one person who at the end of the day is sitting around with a PayPal account of, however much money is left over at the end, but that so we're all feeding ourselves, so that we're all able to eat off of this. If you're putting your talent and effort into something like this, you should get something out of it. You absolutely should. I believe that. I've believed that from day one. And that you guys have provided that the ability to do that through Limit Break Radio and Final Encountercast. I can't thank the audience enough. And the fact that you guys as hosts and producers have stuck with me and have seen this through to the other side, because one of the big things about YouTube channels is that there's a huge turnaround. The people that are involved, the talent that are involved, who's on the other side of the microphone matters. It really does. Like, most of this shit is personality driven. That's why someone like Jim Sterling can be removed from the Escapist brand and still be very successful, because he has a whole lot of pull as a personality. You guys are important. Juxta, even though I shit on you, you're important. Tumblr, even though I make fun of you every day and your hair's really fucking stupid.
Well, yeah,
you're really important. And Robbie, I'm not coming up with anything important for
I
you.
was here from the beginning.
You kind of were.
Unlike Tumblr, who came in halfway because of me, apparently.
I didn't have to be grandfathered in.
Now I have to live with. And I brought Nika. Man, our paychecks could be like twice as big, but I brought these two dumb fucks back.
And Nika, because she's got
Boobs.
Shut up. She's got to shut Surin up for 5 or 6 hours while we do the show. That's got to be a task in and of itself.
It's a strain on a marriage.
Yeah, it's pretty bad sometimes. But he did want me to remind Callow that it's all his fault, and he blames Callow for all of his pains that he's going through right now while not being able to talk.
But look, because Nika, I've experienced that. That was a lot of the reason that I could never do the 11 LBR when I moved, was because I always had
a parasite.
I had someone who was sitting in bed,
not that
staring
a parasite,
staring a hole through the back of my head.
He's more of like a symbiote.
Anyway, no, I really do appreciate the hard work and effort that you guys have put in to the show, Final Encountercast and Checkpoint, and everything that we're going to be doing moving forward. It is a really cool opportunity, and I'm really excited to be able to explore it. And with all of the growing pains that YouTube is going through, I just it does seem a little bit vindicating, at least for me, to see like, okay, yeah, that was a bubble, and that bubble is starting to pop.
Yeah.
Same thing with podcasts. Podcasts are kind of going through the same thing. They've had a much longer version of this, but podcasts like to sit around and jerk each other off like podcasting is the next big wave of media. It's really fucking not.
It's always been the next big thing.
Yeah, you gotta be kidding me! It's really not. And we're under no
delusions of grandeur.
Yes, to think that podcasting is somehow going to change the world. We're taking opportunities. We're taking the best opportunities that we can that we think are going to pay off dividends in the long run. And they may be very strange moves to you. They may seem very weird. Why are you making such a big deal about having a radio show on Oklahoma City and Tulsa? Well, because there's a lot of gamers that live in Oklahoma City and Tulsa that I think would be shocked to hear gaming discussed in a serious way when they turn on the radio.
Okay. Seriously, you guys don't even realize how dumb a lot of gamers are. People on my Facebook who I think those are smart, intelligent people. When I ask them, what do you guys want to hear us discuss? I get favorite first-person shooter, favorite 8-bit game. What's your favorite moment in gaming?
Compare and contrast the consoles.
Those aren't like what? Like actually compare what we've talked about on our shows to the idea of just what's your favorite?
Yeah.
It's so polarizing.
It really is.
Like, that's to me, I look at it, I goes, okay, that's why there's no serious gaming discussion shows out there. Because this is what gamers think it's okay to discuss.
But
that's so next gen.
But at the same time, like, you come to Twitch and you see tons of shows where, dudes are just sitting around with their headsets and they're talking about games in ways that are interesting that and those shows, by the way, those shows are not fun to listen to because they don't understand radio. Well, they don't understand radio presentation. They don't understand the personality factor. And I mean, technically a lot of them kind of suffer some limitations too. And I think that's, we do all of that different. And I want gaming to be seen as the kind of halfway serious thing that it's becoming. Like, people treat this very seriously. People treat the discussions very seriously. Now we're able to put a reflection of that out into the mainstream culture. And I guess what we're appealing to is for you guys to just check it out. And for some of your enthusiasm that maybe you have for this show, or maybe you have for some of our other shows, to leak over into Checkpoint and to allow you to be a big proponent of Checkpoint, because this is an opportunity that not everyone gets. And it almost does seem kind of bizarre to me that we get it and not a Jeff Keighley or a PewDiePie or someone who has a much bigger range. But what's funny is that you find out with these personalities who you get to know through YouTube that as soon as they get in front of a live microphone, as soon as they get in front of a medium that they can't edit, that they fall to fucking pieces. I mean, a lot of people give me shit for my vocal stops, for my ahs and ums, and then they turn around and they want to compare it to something like a Total Biscuit. Total Biscuit writes his shit.
Yeah.
And then reads it.
Yes.
Then edits it.
He's by the way, he's a really good writer. He's a very well-spoken narrator, and he's a good editor. And that's why it may not occur to you that that's actually like that. And then when he gets in front of a podcast, a live mic, and he does a podcast, he does the co-optional podcast, it's the same shit as me. He's stammering and stumbling all over the place because
That's what it's like to be live?
Well, no one speaks with perfect eloquence all the time, constantly. It doesn't work that way. You do not.
No.
Oh.
I know that Total Biscuit is a showcase. I know. I just talked about. Yeah. Okay. You're a little bit far behind. I'm sure. I'm going to assume. But the thing is that all of the shit that people give me shit for, like it's a live product, and the fact that we still present a live product and all of our words go in one cogent direction, not Chris, but all of our words go to one cogent direction and work towards a point and a central theme. Everyone except Chris. And fuck you, dude. Like, do you know how many other podcasts I hear just go off into bullshit? And it's just these guys who have 1 million people on YouTube, but then they make a podcast that's just total fucking garbage.
It's not even entertaining garbage like what Fat does.
Yeah.
Oh, you think I'm entertaining?
Dude, I fall asleep to Total Biscuit all the time, and he's got a great setup, and he is good. I'm not trying to deny that he's not good on co-optional. He is good on co-optional, but it's no different from my performance. We're on the same level. We're working within the same field. He's not,
the way he is in his videos is the way he is all the time.
Right. And some people, some other YouTube creators are way less eloquent when they can't have the chance to organize all their thoughts. And they don't have the ability to improv. They don't have the ability to be in the moment. They don't have the ability to think on their feet and have discussions. And again, you get them on a fucking podcast like JonTron, and then they start fucking falling to pieces.
You see what's really inside.
Look, if you could call, if this show was anything, this was just Knox against JonTron. I've been trying to fucking throw Knox against JonTron and his fucking white nationalist men are under attack bullshit that he's spun out on that podcast, which I thought was so fucking funny to hear. But then like people are shocked that you get someone coming out from behind the lens of the camera and coming out from behind really the editor. Mm-hmm. That it's filtered through before you see the final product.
And realizing it's a completely different person.
Realizing that it's not even the same human being.
Yeah.
Like, was anyone fans of JonTron?
Not really.
I was.
How's it feel?
Oh, honey.
How surprised were you?
Yes, idiot. Actually, no, not particularly surprised. Just because he never tackles anything politically in his videos. Like, it's always. So like when I hear him like, oh, those are your political stands, like, but maybe that's just like doing a podcast and doing Checkpoint. I kind of detach those two things naturally. But most people who watch that, I don't think they do.
No,
they think the person they see on the camera is the actual person.
100%.
Totally. Look, JonTron.
They think I'm actually fat.
Camera ad's 10 pounds.
There are you have to realize that there are people out there who can't separate the fantasy and reality of like soap operas. Like they'll see villains in soap operas in real life and treat them like shit. So yeah, the fact that there are people who
Billy fucking Zane from Titanic. People come up to him and treat him like fucking shit. He played the boyfriend of Rose in Titanic. Really?
Yeah.
Like, why? Billy Zane is a very nice man.
If you go to
stop doing that to Billy Zane.
We love Billy Zane.
If you go to conventions and see the Game of Thrones cast when they have the interview lines,
God, Joffrey
and Cersei Lannister, who are terrific fucking actors.
Hang on, Joffrey doesn't go to that shit anymore. Joffrey's not even an actor anymore.
Yeah,
he took his money and he said, "Everyone, fuck off now."
Because
I'm
people
rich.
hate him now.
Well, he actually gave a whole really good presentation in the speech about letting fame get to your head and like this whole big thing, and he
He's a smart guy.
out of the industry.
He's a really smart guy. Him and Frankie Muniz, I think, are probably two of the smartest actors
Frankie
that I can
Muniz
name.
is like, dude, I'm fucking rich.
He's like, I want to race cars now. Fuck you guys. I don't want to do anything that you think is going to make me money.
Yeah.
That's great. I fucking love that kind of shit.
Absolutely.
But no, like the thing about JonTron is you're right. He stayed away from anything political. He stayed away from anything like that. And then people are fucking shocked when he comes out and he goes, "Oh yeah, I do think that white men are an oppressed minority." What?
Yeah, everyone's
Whoa, buddy.
And like,
back that train up.
kind of watching how that all went down. It was so weird, because he's in this debate with a guy who is clearly more prepared for the debate than he is.
Man, I wish
could see him. You could like watch him get boxed into this corner, and there's a moment where what was it? It's the moment where he drops the whole thing of wealthy African Americans commit more crimes than poor white, and you could see like the look on his face after he said it was like, did I say that out loud? I don't know if I provided the proper context or know the proper context for that statistic.
Nope.
And no, you don't.
Nope.
And so since then, he's kind of been like, maybe I shouldn't touch politics. Maybe I should be more informed. Good call, John.
Well, yeah. Could we also take away his ability to vote as well? Like until he actually learns some shit?
Yeah, dude,
because
that
this
was
is
rough, man.
This is the same thing that I was talking about, the fucking virtue signaling bullshit. People hear someone that they respect say that, and then they parrot it to every, fucking to oblivion. Same thing with cuck. Like any of this stupid fucking vernacular bullshit that people trot out as if it holds some kind of meaning to them, when really all they're doing is just parroting someone who they think is smarter than them has said. And that's not always the case. A lot of times that's someone who actually might be smarter than you, but is fucking cunning, that is using these kinds of words and this kind of vernacular to be able to put hate speech out there that is, that follows all of the fucking PC rules, but is still at the end of the day fucking vile and gross and dehumanizing. And that's like Patton Oswalt's got a great joke about that, where he's like, listen to what's in their heart, because someone can come up and say all of the politically correct verbs and all of the politically correct terms and say, well, I believe that heteronormative behavior is important because it supports family values, and if we lose the traditional family structure, then our culture is fundamentally under attack. Versus the guy who is saying, well, if fags and if fags want to go out there and get married, then fucking let them do it.
Exactly. Like I would much as I don't care for the word fag, I would much rather hear that in support of gay people. We have a very liberal use of fucking terminology that we throw around here because I think most people know where our hearts lie. And that's like JonTron, I don't think if you went and like looked at his jokes or you looked at his content, that he was trying to project himself through any of those pieces of content. In fact, I think he was trying to scrub those pieces of himself from his content, which is intrinsically different from what we do, where we're just putting ourselves out there and letting it fucking fly. No, to me, that's what I always actually enjoyed about his content, was it was very much, I'm doing a video game review, it's going to be funny and you're going to enjoy it. I'm doing a movie review, I'm going to trash on this movie and you're going to enjoy it. And that's all it was. And that's all it needed to be.
But at the same time, though, you peel a layer of that shit back and you find out what kind of ignorance lies beneath the surface, and it's just stunning.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning.
It sucks too because his Birdemic review is one of my favorite videos on YouTube.
Well, no, it really sucks that the number of people who talked about PewDiePie and who talked about the Nazi incident or the kill all Jews, whatever,
are completely silent now,
that have not said a single thing about JonTron's actual fucking ignorance is really, really disturbing to me.
Yep.
And that just shows you how easily something can be scapegoated. Look how quickly JonTron got kind of swept up because everyone was tired of hearing about it from PewDiePie.
Yeah.
Everyone had heard it already about PewDiePie.
We just went through this.
We did. Yeah, you don't even know. When you read the PewDiePie thing, there's so much conflicting information and there's so much bullshit going back and forth. Here is someone who goes to the source. Here is someone who's on record in front of a camera, in front of a live microphone, that is saying the thoughts that are in their head into a fucking microphone. That's not a joke. That's not a misinterpretation of a joke. That's not anything except JonTron's dumb fucking ass going in front of a microphone and saying some shit that he believed in his heart. And how is it fucking possible? How is it even fucking possible that the PewDiePie story gets more play than fucking JonTron?
Because of numbers. JonTron's got 1 million or so. PewDiePie's got 50 million and is the biggest name on YouTube.
No.
It matters who you are.
Wall Street Journal.
Well, that too. But that again, why would Wall Street Journal pick up on PewDiePie versus JonTron? One's
wouldn't.
more important in the public eye.
They wouldn't, because Wall Street Journal and their fucking editors probably don't see anything wrong with the shit that JonTron is saying. They actually probably on some level agree with it.
Possibly. I just think like at the end of the day,
Wall Street Journal, by the way, News Corp, in case anyone's wondering, fucking News Corp.
At the end of the day, you can if you go into a room and say the name PewDiePie, 9 out of 10 people know who it is. 2 out of 10 know who JonTron is.
Okay, but out of out of that same number of people, like the story is intrinsically much worse.
Much more, absolutely. I
much
agree.
worse, and I think way more legitimate and actionable.
Well, it could be too that the Wall Street Journal didn't need to distract the American people from anything this week.
Yeah, there was only a healthcare bill being passed this week, or actually failing to pass.
That was so funny.
Oh, did I sit around on Friday and watch Paul Ryan make that concession speech? Oh boy, did I! I smiled the whole time. It was great.
I like watching him do it, have the flop sweat.
Oh God, it's so good.
Because you know that guy sweats so much when he works out. You know what I mean? And he's working out all the time.
Oh yeah.
He should have rolled higher.
He probably doesn't understand what's going on with his body when he's just standing up there sweating. Like he looks physically uncomfortable.
He
with
looks
himself.
sick most of the time. It's
yeah,
weird.
he does. He does. For someone in such peak physical condition.
Pretty sure he's a zombie.
Anyway. All right, I think that's going to be about it here for Final Encountercast today. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate it. Appreciate you listening to all my ranting.
Ranting is fun, right?
It is. Thanks to all 150 of you hanging out with the show right now. We'll be back next week. 1 p.m. is the start time. Make sure that you join us. If you want to sound off on anything you hear on the show, you can call us anytime that we're live. Final Encountercast on Skype, 810-207-1764 on a regular old phone if you want.